On today's show, despite a blazing start in the first quarter, the Phoenix Suns cool off and the Houston Rockets defeat them at home, leaving everyone with one question to answer. Is this just who the Phoenix Suns are? We'll talk about that and much more in this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up? Welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia. Thanks for tuning in on this Tuesday night, Wednesday morning edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns, a post-Suns Rockets edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. We're going to talk about Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks' struggles, Jordan Ott's inability to really change this lineup to at least tinker with it just a little bit and add one piece in there to help get them to be a bigger team that can maybe challenge another team on the boards a little bit. And we'll talk about the box score and what those oddities looked like for this Suns team. Some things that would look like a statistical anomaly but just aren't. But before we get into any of that, I got to be honest with you guys. I know I tell you guys this, but I'm saying it for a reason now. It's not just that sometimes I try to be unbiased and I want to give you the cold, hard, honest truth, even if it's a little harsh sometimes. And I'm okay if you guys want to come after me because ultimately I really do care about you, the listener. I want you, the listener, to get not what you want to hear sometimes, but maybe what I think you need to hear. And so I try to be authentic. I don't want to be a phony. I want to be the same person off camera that I am on camera. So it would be inauthentic for me not to address this somewhat elephant in the room. This game really hurt tonight. This game really hurt. I haven't been hurt by an Arizona sports team losing in a long time. For those of you that don't know, I've been an Arizona sports fan, Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks, my entire life. This has been my livelihood. This is why I got into sports. But I haven't been hurt in a long time, and the reasoning for that is I'm just kind of used to losing a lot of games. The Diamondbacks, the Cardinals, not very good teams. Suns gave me some happiness in my life more than the other teams have, but I really wanted them to win this game, and this game really hurts. I wanted them to stick it to Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets so much. I really did. But we all know, and I know I said yesterday I picked this team to win, but how much of that was really an emotional pick for me because I wanted to see them win. Right there is a moment of me probably being a little inauthentic. But what's just true is, and what is going to be true for the rest of the season is, this Suns team is going to continue to struggle with these bigger, lengthier, rangier, athletic teams. The Houston Rockets did not play well tonight, and we're going to have a lot of Houston Rockets fans in the comment section tonight if you're watching on YouTube. Those of you watching on audio, the Houston Rockets are going to be in the comment section tonight, and for good reason. Outside of the first quarter, they just flat out bullied the Phoenix Suns, and it leaves everyone to answer this question. Is this just who the Phoenix Suns are? And it does kind of feel like, with now 3 games left in the regular season, the Mavericks tomorrow, the Lakers, and then, of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe that finale is on Sunday. Is this really who they are? Did we overvalue this team? There's 2 questions to be answered there. The first one is, I don't think we overvalued this Phoenix Suns team. I still think they're a very might be a stretch. I still think they're a good basketball team. But they're a flawed basketball team. And that flaw has been staring them in the face all year long. And I know people want to point the finger at Jordan Ott. And to be fair, he has been stubborn with some rotations in the lineup. It is still inexcusable that Rasheer Fleming is a flat-out DNP. Come on, Malawach, Ryan Dunn. You can't get me on board there. As much as those guys might help out defensively, Ryan Dunn is a net negative offensively, and Kamon Malawach is a rookie and not a great offensive player. So you want to sub out those offensive guys, for defensive guys, but then you're going to struggle on the offensive side. The Suns have an identity of who they want to be, and that is the team that turns defense into offense, the team that wants to be gritty defensively. And that's a fun thing to do. That's what they were doing well before the pre-All-Star break. But it is clearly not a sustainable model, because in the first quarter, I tweeted out, man, this Suns team is absolutely punking the Houston Rockets right now, pushing them over, getting physical. I loved what Jalen Green did at the start of the game, just going right at Amen Thompson. And also, golly, do Amen Thompson and Jalen Green hate each other? People were telling me that wasn't the case, but holy hell, man, those guys were going at each other. That didn't feel like competitive spirit. I totally buy into that. It felt like two guys that wanted to prove to each other how much the other one sucks in front of everyone. And I loved the energy to come out of this game. I loved Dillon Brooks getting in Kevin Durant's head. I loved Jalen Green immediately going directly after Amen Thompson. I loved it. But it's easy to be that team for 12-minute stretches. It's easy to be that team that circled this game on the calendar, and you come out and you want to just be the gritty, hard-nosed, punch-him-in-the-mouth team. And to be fair, the Suns did that. But it's a hard model to do for 48 minutes. It just is a hard model to do for 48 minutes. And the Suns did it for 12, 16, and then that second quarter, a tale that we talk about far too often with this team is they get hot in that first quarter and they completely taper off. And they just have no answers when their three-point shot isn't falling. And again, it's not an indictment on Jordan Ott. I know people want to act like he's got more options than he really does. He really doesn't. It is a monstrosity that they're not playing Rasheer Fleming. I totally buy into that. But Kamal Malawach, Ryan Dunn, these are net negative guys offensively right now. And I really like Kamal Malawach. He's going to get it figured out. But Ryan Dunn has not shown any semblance of an offensive game for you to throw him out there. This is the Suns right now. This is who they are. And for better or worse, this is what they're going to be. And when they play these lengthier, rangier, athletic, twitchier teams that can be so good defensively, they can go into cold spells. And it's not like the Rockets played well tonight. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of Rockets fans in the comments section today. They did not play well tonight. Rockets fans would tell you that. Look at some of the statistics here. Kevin Durant, 8 for 20. Jabari Smith Jr., 6 for 18. Alperen Şengün, 5 for 15. Amen Thompson was good tonight, 10 for 16. Reed Shepherd was decent, 5 for 9. But outside of that, this team shot 45% from the field, and at one point they were shooting like 39% from the field. But here's the difference. They got up 100 shots. The Suns got up 75 shots tonight. The Rockets shot 37% from three. They shot 38 of them. Suns shot 23% from three and shot 31 of them. When you add in all those things, guys, when you add in the fact that the Suns are getting killed on the boards because they're not a big enough team that we've talked about all year, eventually we're not complaining about it anymore. We're just stating the obvious when they lose these games, why they lost them. But whether it's around the rim, losing the rebounding battle, by the way, by a wide margin in this game. The Suns in this game, I want to go to their rebounding statistics here, but sorry, my computer froze a little bit. The Suns got out-rebounded tonight, 55-34. And I promise you it gets worse. They got out-rebounded on the offensive boards, 24-10. I mean, how many second-chance points are you going to allow the Rockets to get? The Rockets had 25 more attempts tonight than the Suns did. Just because I say this is who the Phoenix Suns are, it's not a bad thing. They're still a good team, but there's obviously clear limitations on what they could do. Do I still think that they could have some fun with the Spurs in the first round? Yes, and I know tonight a lot of Suns fans are going to close their eyes and flip me off behind the screen and because tonight lost and tonight sucks, but I do think that they can still be a fun and frisky team in the first round of the playoffs, but winning a playoff series feels as impossible as it's ever felt to this point. So not impossible, but it feels like that hope of potentially shocking someone feels a little out the window. This is who they are, and for better or worse, they're going to go into the offseason, and they're going to have to address their size issue. They've got some contracts that they're going to have to look at, one being Colin, who was terrible tonight. But they are who they are. They're a team that has outshined exactly what they were. They outbeat their, FanDuel betting line faster than anyone. It's still a good season. But these flaws just really aren't going away. Let's evaluate Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, and Jalen Green tonight. I know people are going after the guys on the bench, but we got to ride with the guys who are supposed to be your stars, and none of them showed up tonight for long stretches. Let's talk about that next. First, today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inboxes overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open with the pressure's on. You need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates. Check all the boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates. Check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Job. Today's episode is also brought to you by the folks over at Wayfair. Wayday it is. Wayday is here. And if you've been thinking about upgrading your space, this is the time to do it. We're talking about some of the best deals on your furniture, decor, outdoor essentials, everything you need to refresh your home. During Wayday, Wayfair is offering up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything, making it easy to find prices that fit your style and your budget. It's super easy to filter by style, size, and price, so you're not wasting your time scrolling. The reviews and photos help you feel confident in what you're getting, and Wayfair verified products are vetted by specialists, so you know you're getting quality. Whether it's upgrading a room, adding outdoor pieces, or just finding something that ties your space together, it makes the whole process simple from start to finish. Wayday is the sale to shop from. Is the deal to shop the best deals in home. We're talking about up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com April 25th through 27th to shop Wayday. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Okay, so I want to talk about Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Dillon Brooks right here because I don't really like some of the... It feels like almost forcing the issue on the Suns bench players who, make no mistake about it, were not good tonight, and we'll talk about them in the next segment a little bit, but I'll mention them just briefly. The Suns role players tonight, Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neale combined for 1 3-pointer tonight. 1 for 8 from 3. That is a losing recipe. But even what is more of a losing recipe is Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Dillon Brooks being downright terrible tonight. Devin Booker, I thought was about to have a signature game. I thought we were about to see Devin Booker come out here and put all of my concerns to rest because Devin Booker is having, to his standards, a down season. Still an all-star level season, but to his standards, a down season. And one of my concerns with Devin Booker is, are we just expecting him to go back to being 2023 Devin Booker in the playoffs where he was getting comps to Michael Jordan? We have to see him be able to just turn that switch on. And we haven't seen him turn that switch on consistently, especially in these bigger games. And immediately to start the first quarter, he was a flamethrower. I mean, he was taking Jabari Smith Jr. to the cup. I mean, it was truly impressive stuff. And then he just tapered off. He got less aggressive. He was more passive. Didn't really take what the defense was giving him. Instead, was throwing up some three-point jumpers, which I didn't love. He shot 2 for 6 from 3 tonight. It's my biggest concern with Devin Booker. I know that he has been a largely playoff riser with some playoff stinkers in those in the elimination games. We know that about him. Not exactly Kobe Bryant when it comes to those games, but he's been a mostly really good playoff player. And you are hoping for him to rise to that occasion, but I've got no reason to believe that he's just going to take that leap this year that he just hasn't taken right now. Maybe it does happen, but I thought we were going to see that, and it was in the beginning of the first quarter where we saw shades of that, and then he just completely fell off a cliff tonight. I know his statistics were good with 31 points, but 15 of those points came from the foul line. He was 7 for 16 tonight. He had 8 assists. That was nice, but the Suns need him to get buckets, and he was not getting buckets. Jalen Green tonight, 5 for 14. Can I say this about Jalen Green? He's been really good over the last couple of games, and I got really excited about how good he was being in the last podcast. But the reasoning why he was so good is because he was doing the things that the Suns need from him, the things that I thought he was incapable of doing consistently. He was getting to the basket. He was forcing teams to foul him, even if he wasn't getting the fouling a ton. He was being a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He was playing to the strengths of Devin Booker. And it was masterful. And he was doing all the things on the defensive side of the ball, using his lengthy arms to get into passing lanes. It was fantastic stuff from Jalen Green. Tonight he reverted back to really bad and Houston Rockets-esque level Jalen Green, where his shot selection was abysmal tonight. Just abysmal. And even at the rim, when he got to the rim, there was at one point where he was going to the basket. He tried to do some reverse, weird, garbage, go to the basket, reverse package, and he missed. And thankfully, Mark Williams was there to clean it up. He had an air ball tonight that fell into Mark Williams' hands that they ended up counting for an assist. So cool, I guess. But Jalen and Dillon as well. This is not just a Jalen thing, but Jalen and Dillon were far too emotional in this game. Now, when I say emotional, people are like, oh, they were crying? No, that's not what I'm talking about. They came into this game wanting to prove something. And both guys wanting to prove something actually forced themselves into doing far too much. Far too freaking much. Dillon Brooks shot 7 3-pointers tonight. He made one of them. He was 3 for 12 from the field. He was, just so we're clear, here's the one bright thing about Dillon Brooks is, I know everyone's going to show that Kevin Durant highlight of him kind of breaking his ankles. I don't know how much of that was really him breaking his ankles. That's not how I grew up of what ankle breakers looked like. Ankle breakers looked like what Jamal Crawford has done or what Kevin Durant has done to players before, but just running really fast off of a dribble, I don't think that's an ankle breaker, but that's going to be the highlight from tonight's game. But Dillon Brooks was really, really good defensively on Kevin Durant tonight. I thought he did a masterful job on him. But offensively, that ankle breaker, if you will, was the worst thing to happen to Dillon Brooks, because then after that he started shot checking. He wanted to prove that he belonged, and it was the same problem that Jalen Green had. Both guys were trying to prove to their ex-girlfriend just how much better they did. And by doing so, both of the guys vomited all over themselves. Jalen Green went away from everything that has been working over the last couple of games. Getting to the basket, being a good catch and shoot three-point shooter, getting in passing lanes, and just reverted back to terrible shot selections. Didn't want to take Kevin Durant off the dribble. Just reverted back to old habits. And it's one game, and you could make the argument that this was done because the Rockets were an emotional game from him. But when the playoffs come around, if he plays like that, the Suns will get swept. Or they'll lose in 5 games. That version of Jalen Green is not the version of Jalen Green that the Phoenix Suns need. And it's the same thing with Dillon Brooks. I don't want to just harp on Jalen Green. It was Dillon Brooks too. Dillon got in his own head, Kevin Durant shook him a little bit, and he went up and started chucking three-point jumpers. He was inefficient tonight. He was really good defensively. He was inefficient tonight, didn't shoot the three ball particularly well. And when those three guys are not playing well, like if those three guys were all playing masterful, I would agree with you guys. Like, what is Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neale doing? But this team was never going to win this game if those three guys didn't show up, regardless if Colin and Grayson and Royce did. But those aren't your stars. Those aren't the guys that make the most money. Those guys are going to get some blame, and we're going to talk about them in a second. But you have to point the blame at your all-star and your two other fringe star players who make a lot of money. So, man. There was an opportunity to be had tonight, and Dillon and Jalen and Booker as well just didn't, I don't think they understood the moment super well and made it too much about themselves. Hopefully they get that figured out. Let's look a little bit more into the box score, but also the bench players. I don't know how much longer you can play these three guys consistently without mixing it up a little bit. What do I mean by that? We're going to talk about Rasheer Fleming again next. Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part, not always so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast. Without the hassle, it puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. Pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and have tickets locked in within minutes. I love seeing the all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkouts, being able to see the view from the seat before buying made the decision easy. Zone deals stood out. Choose the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save. Great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKDOWN for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Okay, keeping the show rolling. I don't want to just not shill out blame to the players on the bench, but these were the guys that originally gave up the lead in the second quarter. And it's pretty clear how they did that. The Rockets took advantage of the size the Suns were rolling out there. The Suns rolled out Royce O'Neale and Oso Ighodaro and Grayson Allen and Colin Gillespie. You know, actually, really quickly, I thought Oso was, how do I say it? Oso Ighodaro was really good tonight. He was really good tonight. Now, how good? He only played 19 minutes, but he was 4 for 6 from the field. And he at one point had Alperen Şengün in Alcatraz. It was, at one point, Alperen Şengün was 1 for 9. And Oso Ighodaro was doing a fabulous job eating that dude's lunch and stuffing him in a locker. And you know what? Alperen Şengün, I don't know why he's taken a step back this year, although I have my thoughts. He is a soft big man. I mean, he is a soft big man. 2 times today, that dude didn't get touched and fell to the floor and got a couple of fouls called on Oso for it. Just ridiculous calls. Also, the officiating tonight, clearly it favored the Phoenix Suns with 39 free throws. But at times it didn't feel that way. And it feels like the NBA didn't get the assignment that this game was going to be hard-nosed. Let the dudes play. But Oso Ighodaro, I thought was pretty good tonight, especially down low. But those other guys, Royce O'Neale, Grayson Allen, and Colin Gillespie, combining for 1 3-point jumper tonight out of 8 attempts, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster too. It is a recipe for disaster. And Colin Gillespie struggles. Now, people have asked me, like, why aren't you harder on Colin Gillespie? And it is kind of harder to be harder on Colin Gillespie, not because I have this affinity for him and, you know, I want the guy to friggin' marry my daughter, but he makes $2 million a year. And he has vastly overperformed his contract. And he was an undrafted NBA player. He got picked up on the scrap heap for the Phoenix Suns last year. When Colin Gillespie makes real money, and the Suns have a really interesting decision to make this offseason, oh yeah, I'm going to be 10 times harder on Colin Gillespie. Once your pay goes up, yeah, I'm going to have some other things to say than just he's played pretty well. But for the most part, like, he just broke the Suns' single-season three-point record. Colin Gillespie has outperformed his contract. But what I will say over the past couple of weeks is he's just not contributing enough offensively. He is not contributing enough offensively. And when Colin Gillespie's three-point shot is not falling, he's kind of a negative asset on the floor. And I don't want the guy benched. I think he's still a really good player. But there is something going on with Colin Gillespie right now, which feels like it's all just mental right now. It feels all just mental right now. So, just tough. Just tough for Colin Gillespie, who has been a really good player this year, but it feels like it's mental. His shot is not falling. Feels like he's not being as aggressive. And when his shot isn't falling, you guys are right. He isn't super playable. Because defensively, when you're out there with a bunch of small players, this is kind of what happens. So, just tough. Grayson Allen tonight as well. He attacked Alperen Sengun once off the dribble, but that was the only time it felt like he was attacking. You can make the argument that Grayson Allen just didn't get enough attempts tonight because Dillon Brooks was taking some bad shots, or Devin Booker was breaking a shot, or Jalen Green was taking a bad shot. Grayson Allen needs more run. He needs more run. And him and Colin, even when they're not hitting, need to be shooting three-point jumpers because this team is going to live and die by the three-point jumper. And just hitting 7 three-pointers for this team is a recipe for freaking disaster. So, hard, man. Tough. Here's the other thing I'll say. On the Oso Ighodaro front and Mark Williams, I don't know what it was about Mark Williams. I don't know if it was the fact that he wasn't super engaged in the game. He only had 9 shot attempts. He was 7 for 9. He was really good offensively. He had 8 rebounds. Like, he wasn't bad tonight. He was a team-high plus 10. But Alperen Sengun got going late in the game when Mark Williams was guarding him. So I don't know what was going on there with Mark, but Mark's got to be a little bit more physical there for this team to be successful down low. I mean, there was at points in this game where I was actually, you guys know how big I am of a Mark Williams guy, but I was kind of advocating for Oso to play over him because Oso was doing a better job on him. And in the fourth quarter, that Sengun little run was all on Mark. It was all on Mark. He's just got to be a better defender for this team. And so I hate to repeat myself, guys, but the box score really tells the story for this Suns team. 43% from the field, 13 for 75, or 32 for 75. Just continues to show that this team, struggles against these bigger teams. The Rockets had 100 shot attempts tonight. Absolutely crazy. The Suns are going to continue to live and die by that three-point jumper. But the thing that is going to kill the Suns, and I'm literally highlighting it on my computer right now, 24 offensive rebounds to 10. Just 14 extra possessions for the Houston Rockets. 14 of them. 18 turnovers doesn't help. Suns got to take care of the basketball a little bit better. Points in the paint, 30 to 20. Golly, 30 to 20 points in the paint 54 to 44. I was looking at the fouls tonight. The Rockets had more fouls, but 54 to 54 points in the paint. Just a recipe for disaster. Here's the other thing that I didn't mention until late in the show. 15 assists. 15 assists for the Phoenix Suns. The ball has to move with more fluidity. When the ball starts to stick in any one player's hands, it takes out all the juice to this offense that is and does play random. And that does not just go for one singular player. That goes for all the players on this team. It felt like at times the ball got stagnant, held in someone's hands, regardless of who it was. They needed to do a better job of kicking that thing out and being a little bit more liberal with their passing. So, with that being said, guys, the Suns lose in a kind of sucky fashion. Rockets beat the Suns. Suns got the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow. We'll see if they can rebound. And the Suns, like, the postseason's coming. They've got to figure out the rotations. They got to figure out what they're going to do for this team. And they've got only a couple of games left to figure it out. Until then, I'm Benjamin Garcia. It's been Locked On Phoenix Suns. Thanks for tuning in, guys. You guys are awesome. See you guys tomorrow.